I'm surprised Hercules didn't turn you on to that trick.
Hey everyone, I'm Catherine, and for a very special Father's Day episode of Men Stuff, I'm going to introduce a new segment where I ask my dad how to do something and see how good his dad advice is. And it seemed only fitting that I record my first episode of dad advice on Father's Day. I mean, who better to learn about men's stuff than a woman? And who better to talk about men's stuff than my dad? Since it's Father's Day and the first time I'm doing a dad advice segment, I'm going to spend a little bit of extra time talking about my dad because he deserves it. Hi, Dad. I love you. My dad, Tim, is a Greek-American retired business owner, and now he spends his retirement doing crosswords, having lunch with his friends, and scooting around the country with his much younger wife. Growing up, my dad owned a real estate appraisal business, but he always made time to come to every single one of my swim meets, baseball games, winter recitals. You name it, he was there. He told my brother and I that he invented the skateboard, and I wholeheartedly believed him until I was 20. He taught me to drive on a manual 350Z Datsun Nissan. The car had both the Datsun and Nissan names on it because it was the year they switched, which was 1984. And he proudly told me that story over and over when he was telling me about the car, along with the story of how he bought it for a friend for $50. It had removable T-top windows, was very red, and it was incredible. My dad is so cool, and I think he really wanted that to be my first car. But he was up for a challenge because I'm left-handed, and I both didn't know how to drive manual and didn't know how to drive in general. Pair that with the 350Z not having airbags, and, well, my mom was probably right that that was a recipe for disaster. My dad has always been there for me. He's one of the smartest people I know, and he's always challenged me to be better. But most recently, I've needed my dad so much more, and this is actually the purpose of this segment. My dad has helped me so much since I've been divorced and I moved in by myself. I call him 3 times a week to ask him to help me with something, everything, and he always finds time to give me advice and explain things to me and then call me later and ask to make sure everything is okay. He's helped me out of a terrible lease with a predatory landlord. He told me to hire a lawyer and not trust my ex-husband. Very good advice. He cheered for me when I took apart my entire garbage disposal to prove to my new landlord that it wasn't working. And he helped me get a new chain lock when my male neighbors were being creepy. And then he explained to me how to install it to make sure it worked okay. Tim, Dad, I love you. You're the best dad ever. Today, for this segment, I called my dad and I asked him 3 very dad questions. They are, how do I magnetize my drill bit? Is there a way to find studs without using a stud finder? And how do plastic drywall anchors work? I called him and I asked him those 3 questions, and he answered me and even gave me a little additional dad advice. Thanks, Dad. I love you. So without further ado, here is Dad Advice, Part 1. Hey, Dad, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Happy Father's Day, Dad.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
I ran around watching the golf tournament all day. Came out at 12 and didn't go off till 7. It was a good tournament, too.
So I was thinking about you and Father's Day, and I was thinking about like my best memories with you. And the first one I wanted to ask you was, Steven and I were joking how you invented the skateboard.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I say invented, Andy and I took a pair of skates, rubber steel skates, took a hacksaw and cut one of them in half, and nailed it to the bottom of a oblong board. And it worked, But then we went out to the roller rink. Roller rinks were popular back then. And I think we bought an old pair of used skates. You like put your foot in like a shoe skate, and we took those wheels and axles off and improved it with those.
You improved it. There was a prototype number 2.
And then we went on and ordered some new wheels because they had wood wheels on them. And you go down the street of the sidewalk and how they were half the size they were when you left. Just warmed down so quick. So we ordered some fiberglass wheels and put them on there. So we took it to that limit, busted our butt so many times we figured we better stay off of them. But anyway, that's the story behind it.
I love it. I believed that you truly invented it until I was like 20.
Well, that's my version of the story. By golly, I'm not changing it either.
Well, you were dedicated enough. You made another one. I love that.
That's right. If I can get people to believe it, hey.
I would go to school for like school show and tell day and tell people that my dad invented the skateboard.
Well, you would tell the truth as far as you do.
Exactly.
But I'm telling the truth as far as I do. I don't know anybody else.
I don't know anyone else who's invented the skateboard, honestly. So I think it was you.
Well, my hair's nice and fancy. Look at that.
It looks really good, Dad.
Relaxed.
Very relaxed, yes. Very dad chic.
Well, how's everything going with you?
Oh, it's going good. So I sent you the picture of my desk that I made for myself today.
Yes, I saw that.
And actually, I had more dad questions for you because of my drill. The screws won't stay on it. It's not magnetized, and it was so annoying. And I was wondering if there was a way that I could magnetize my drill, and if you knew anything, because it was just really annoying.
Well, you can buy bits that are magnetized. You don't need to do that. I mean, you could keep the screw on the head until you got it ready to where you wanted to put it.
Yeah, my motor skills aren't that great.
I got a great solution for you, simple too.
Okay.
This is revolutionary too.
Okay.
Just hold the screw with your fingers and just where you want it, and then put the drill on there.
Okay. So don't just
pretend like the drill is a manual screwdriver. How would you do that? You'd hold the screw where you want it, put the screwdriver on there and turn. Well, just put the screw where you want it, put your drill there, and send it on in. It doesn't have to stick on there.
Okay, thank you. The hardest part is like realizing that I have to put pressure on it when I'm pushing it in. I want it to just go by itself, and it won't.
Right. I'm surprised Hercules didn't turn you on to that trick.
Yeah, he really wanted to help me when I was measuring. He loved the measuring tape. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to ask you was if it's possible to find studs without using a stud finder. I searched for mine for like 30 minutes today before I found it. Is there another way to find studs?
Yes, there is. Tap on your wall, and where there is no stud, it'll be like a hollow sound. Don't have to tap it hard, just kind of tap it.
Okay.
And just kind of go across with your knuckles, and you'll hear that pitch get less and less hollow. And then when you hit a stud, it won't sound hollow, it'll sound firm. Okay. But if you keep going, you can tell that you're going away from the stud, so it'll start sounding hollow again.
Okay, thank you. I tried to knock, but then I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
It's real simple. You can do it. Studs are 16 inches apart, so that'll give you a few.
Thank you, Dad. I should have called you earlier today.
You'll find it. You'll hear the tone. You can do it, unless it's plaster walls, which I don't think it is.
Okay. So the other dad thing I wanted to ask.
Well, this is Father's Day.
So I'm getting all the father's advice that I can get. Right. My brackets came with a bunch of anchors, and I always ignore them, but I was hoping you could tell me what they do.
Are they like little plastic sleeves that have ridges on them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you do not find the stud, drill your hole and put that sleeve in there.
Do I drill it into the hole with the screwdriver?
No. Drill your hole and then put your sleeve in there. Maybe just tap it in so it goes in and is kind of flush on the wall.
Okay.
And they're designed so when you put your screw in there, the back of it flares out and the holes that in there won't come out.
Okay.
So that holds the screw in place when it's like a real thin. If you have a stud, you don't need to do that.
Okay.
These are just if you cannot find a stud, the sheetrock's real thin and it's not going to hold it. The screws are going to come out. Use that sleeve, and once you put the sleeve in there and put your bracket or whatever, and you screw it in and through the wall, and the back end of that thing spread out so it won't come out. That's why it's got those ridges on it.
The only time I ever tried to use one, I tried to use it in a stud because I thought I was being extra anchoring.
Well, that ought to hold it, but that's a lot of work, and you really don't need that.
I didn't pre-drill it either.
Yeah, if you can find a stud, put the screw right into it, that'll hold it a lot firmer. As firm as if you put the sleeve in there. But I noticed it looked like you were putting it under your TV set.
Yes, that's my second monitor. It's not aligned perfectly because my two studs are at 1 inch off. So I should have called you before this.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go to the trouble to move it. How far off is it?
1 inch.
Well, when you put your top on there, just slide it over it so it looks like it's in the middle.
Perfect.
That would pass government work.
Thanks.
Okay, well, it shouldn't go anywhere.
Yes, it's been on the wall ever since. And sorry to my landlord. I'll just spackle over it when I leave. Yeah, that's fine.
Another little trick of the trade, too, if you don't have any spackling, buy a whole thing of spackling or caulking or whatever. Get a tube of toothpaste.
Really?
Yeah, it's got to be clear. It can't be like striped or color. It's got to be white.
Or have glitter in it.
And put that in there, that'll harden up, and it's just as good as spackling or caulking or anything else.